welcome to episode 10 of TemTalk, a podcast dedicated to the creature collection MMO Temtem. Today is a very special and exciting episode for us because our main topic is going to be about Nuzlocke mode, and to do so, we have a very special guest joining us, a Twitch streamer who's done a lot of Nuzlocke and a lot of special twists on Nuzlocke mode, and that's Gaijin Buu. Gaijin Buu, how are you doing today?
I am doing very well. I'm doing quite well.
We're very excited to have you. And always, of course, Presby Kennedy is joining me as my co-host, reliable and always present. Kennedy, how are you doing this week?
Fantastic. You're mentioning the weather for you, and the sun literally just started shining straight through my window, and it's like, bless this Tim podcast.
Oh, yeah. I was telling Kenny before we started recording that it is 80 degrees here in Minnesota, and that is by far the warmest, nicest weather we've had all year. So as soon as we're done with this and I get this up online, I'm grabbing my Nintendo Switch and I'm heading out to the patio to play some games outside. So I'm going to go outside, but still play video games. But at least I'll be getting some fresh air while I do it. So I think that counts as exercise. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's low-key exercise.
Just make sure you stay 6 feet away from NPCs.
That's right. That's right. Don't want to catch coronavirus. Let's jump straight into the news this week, which we also talked about before the show kind of mentioned. There's not a ton of news this week, but we have a bunch of listener questions to catch up on, so that will help us balance it out. The first thing, real quick, we'll just touch on what SciPark was this week. It was no Lumas this week, but it was some interesting Tems. It was Gaijin and Orphil for who evolves into Nidrasil, but it was not Lumas. It was just increased SVs and egg moves. Did either of you guys spend any time in SciPark going after these or make the initial purchase of 2,000 Pansuns for 34 side cards?
I actually did, just because, one, it was Gaijin in there this week, and normally when people are breeding Gaijin and they get screwed on gender ratios and they're trying to buy, more Gaijin to breed, Gaijin itself sells for like 500 to, 1,000 Pansun to breeders, so just having them on hand is pretty decent if you lurk in the Temtem Discord. The other thing too is 30 cards for 30 cards for 34 for 2,000 Pansun. Gaijin releases for like 100 Pansun. So if you get really, really horrific rates, are really horrifically unlucky with all the Gaijin you catch and you release every one, it almost makes its money back. I would have to do math. 34 times 100 is what, 3,400? Yeah, so you make 400 Pansun for going to SciPark this week. But in addition to that, though, I really, really like how they're doing the SVs now. A lot of people will complain about it, but for like the casual player, just with every SV having a minimum amount, and then the Temtem's abilities are adjusted on top of that minimum amount, you get some really, really cool Tems. Like I caught a Gaijin with like 349s in a stat and then like 44 in everything else. And it had an egg move. And I was just like, what is this? And so I know a couple casual players that don't like breeding and don't, farm Pansun to buy like good Tems. So I have that on hand where it's just like, hey, if you want to, get into rank or something, here's a pretty decent Gaijin. Or if you want to just, breed it with something else, here's something to help you through the game.
Yeah,
so
without needing SVs, Gaijin is usually, the 5% hard, can be difficult to find or mask it. So if nothing else, it helps with breeding or just catching one that doesn't have perfect SVs, but just getting one easily for a competitive team. So I think it's a little more interesting as far as the non-Luma SciParks go.
It's basically a Luma week for Gaijin because it's only a 5% spawn rate, like you said. So a 25% chance anyone who wants a Luma Gaijin, this is the place to be. But on top of that, why I think it was like a really, really cool week. Why I think it was a really cool week is somebody was like, I was watching a stream and somebody was breaking down like the math of Gaijin and stuff. A lot of people say Gaijin is pretty much useless without heat up. Somebody like did the math, and with like the 25% spawn rate out of the 2 chances for Gaijin to spawn, the 60% female rate, the 8% egg move across 4 different egg moves that Gaijin could have. Someone came up with like a crazy number. It was like a 1 in 100,000 chance of getting a female Gaijin with heat up. It was just like,
In the sci
so
park this week?
astronomically slim that it's just like, yeah, it's best to keep the breeding if,
Yeah.
don't plan on walking in and just getting a perfect Gaialis and, entering competitive.
What about you, Gaijin Buu? Did you spend a week in this sci park, or do you spend a lot of time in this sci park, or is that something that with the Nuzlocke runs you're doing that you don't have time for?
I usually spend too much time in Sci Park.
Okay.
So I usually do Sci Park every week, at least a little bit. I generally don't spend nearly as much time when it's a non-double Luma week, just because I'm trying to get a full living original tamer Tempedia. So I'm trying to catch every Luma with my OT to get my living OT Tempedia.
You're one of those insane people we talk about on this show. So how many Lumas do you have already then?
Off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly. It's not a whole lot, to be honest.
There's so many Lumas you don't even know the count, really. And you've caught most or all of them yourself? Because you want that OT tag?
Most of the ones, so I've actually been traded a lot. Because I give away Lumas as giveaways or just gifts or whatever, and I've been gifted quite a few of them for giveaways. So my actual Luma count on my my tamer tag is not accurate. So how many I've actually caught? So I've actually only caught myself probably, I want to say 6 to 8, which I know is a lot compared to some people, but I do have like 900 hours in the game.
Yeah,
so considering that, that's not a whole lot.
No. This is probably a good time to remind you that I think you did read the small print to come on the show that there's a fee of 1 Luma per co-host.
Oh yeah.
So sorry,
gotta give it up.
We'll be looking for those trades after we get off the air here. So let us know which ones you're going to give us.
I was watching your stream earlier this week, Gaijin, and I was just like tuning in the background while I was like working on my other screen, and you ran into a Luma Saipat, and I was like, oh cool, he's gonna get a Luma Saipat. And then you're like, I guess I'll give it away to the people watching right now. And there are like 20 people watching. And I was like, wait, this is a 1 in 20 chance of getting a Luma Saipat. And I will not lie, I did try and rig that. I messaged like 10 of my friends. I was like, get on the stream now and enter this gosh darn giveaway and give me this. But they're like a little sluggish. But it was super fun and super cool hanging out on your stream. And I will commend and celebrate your luck. Because I think you said that was like your 3rd Saipat you'd caught.
Yeah, it was my 3rd Luma Saipat. I've caught 2 on my main account. One of them I gave away to one of my followers that's been hanging out with me for a while, because they have terrible luck, and I just I like to do nice stuff for people. But with my Nuzlocke challenges, any Lumas that I find, unless they're a 5% or a Valash, I do give away. So as soon as I find a Luma during my Nuzlocke challenges, I will immediately do a game of marbles, and anybody that's in chat is able to just enter, and they don't have to be following me, they don't have to be subscribed or anything like that. I just want to give back to the community, and that's just kind of the way I do it, since I'm not very rich in Panzons.
Your streams are enjoyable enough as is, but like if that's not a reason to watch, I don't know what else is.
Definitely, that's awesome. That's really cool. And the free time this week was, again, we're on this tier system now, so the releases ranged from 50 to 600 releases. You got some crystals on the low end, and then some fruit, and then a cosmetic item, a headband at 300, which is a little different than last week because the cosmetic item was at 600 releases. But at 600 this week, they had dyes. I can't remember. I don't know if you guys do. Was 50, 150, 300, and 600 the same number of releases last week? I wonder if this is going to be static now, that this is going to, every week it's going to be the same amount of releases with 4 sets of rewards. Well, I guess if it's 3 weeks in a row, it's probably pretty safe to assume. Either of you guys get some of these rewards this week, or do some free tem, or too busy with other things?
Been too busy looking for Luma Gialis on my main account, so I usually run Luma Gialis on my phone through GeForce Now when I'm doing my Nuzlocke runs, just so I can have the opportunity to still look and do what I want to do. I mean, I could run two instances on my desktop, but I currently have two Steam accounts, and my main Steam account is where my main account is. So I have to log out to do my Nuzlocke runs. So I can't do it right on my PC at the same time.
Yeah.
For me, I got the crystals just because the crystals sell so much, and 50 Tims wasn't
Easy, yeah.
It wasn't a crazy amount to get. I've been free Timming actually this morning, and I think I'm at like 70 or
Still
80.
got 2 days left.
Yeah, I'm not going to get to the 600.
Yeah, maybe you get to 150 at least.
I'm doing.
Just gotta... Sorry,
I was just saying, I'm doing the C Note farm with Ukama and Whiplump, which is a lot of money, but it's not a lot of Tims because Whiplump and Ukama release for so much, and they're so hard to capture. You don't get like a lot of Tims per hour, but you get a lot of Pansons per hour. I think the Mastion farm over at the Anik Volcano is probably like the most Tims per hour for trying to, free Tim it up.
Yeah, definitely. Well, like we said last week, it's just nice to have this tier system so that you can just do the 50, get some extra incentive for that, and call it a week if you want to.
Yeah. Someday I'll get the 600 reward, but it's got to be juicy, and I've got to have no life and be off of work.
Yeah. Gaijin Buu, what about you? Do you do free times a lot, or are you too busy Luma hunting?
Yeah, sorry, I kind of forgot the question when I started talking originally. But I usually try to free time. I just I get so busy Luma hunting or trying to get what I can in Side Park that by the time it comes around to the end of the week, I've completely forgot to get anything, and I just I struggle to get even 300. The past 2 weeks, I've missed out on both the telomere hacks, which is super disappointing because I have some Lumas that I'd like to try and perfect, but it's just not.
Especially now that you can't trade for those, you have to get them all yourself.
I mean, a lot of people don't like that change. I personally understand it. Perfect Luma Temtem as they exist now never meant to exist. So I get why they made that change, but yeah, you definitely need as many telomere hacks as you can, and hopefully now that they made that change, they will make them more accessible.
That's the nice thing about it, right? Is like they can give them out every single week now, without it being this huge influx of perfect Lumas that everyone's going to just without a select amount of players buying them all up. So, no, I'm with you. We talked about pretty extensively in the past how we understand it's painful for some players, and we feel for those that are hurt by it or we're in the middle of doing so or upset by it. Like we have sympathy for that, but overall, I think we both thought it was a needed change, and that it was like you said. The fact that you couldn't just flat out trade the item, I think really shows the intention that they were never meant to be traded and sold between players. That Kreema never thought that was going to be the case, and of course, gamers will find a way around it. And so, we'll just trade the Tems and use them and trade the Tems back.
Oh, for sure,
so.
Yeah.
The other one piece of news we have this week is they made a post on Twitter saying that on April 29th, it was International Dance Day. So what better day than to show off their dance emoji that they've been working on. So they posted a GIF showing the dance emoji that's coming soon. Kennedy, I know you're especially excited about this. I'm going to throw it right to you off.
New meta, the dance meta. No, I love it. It's silly. It's goofy. It's super cool. It reminds me of some of the TikTok dances that are getting really popular right now, and just like the way the character breaks down. But I think this is important for an MMO and just games in general. Like when you think of World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 2, I think even RuneScape has like dancing emotes of like it's just an integral part of the game of like 8 or 12 people sitting around in town just spamming a dance emote. And I'll probably get a lot of like flack for this. I enjoy Fortnite and I play it in my free time with a couple of my friends to hang out. And I would say 50% of our playtime in Fortnite is just sitting in the lobby spamming really dumb dance emotes and just goofing off and making jokes with each other. And I like that, I have the opportunity to do that in Temtem too. I think it's a really great opportunity for them too, of like a base dance. And then if they, come into financial issues in the future, a cash shop of like buying more dance emotes could be really cool, or even an achievement system.
I think long term, once they get the full game out, they'll definitely be releasing purchasable dance moves. I hope not until then, because I think that'll make players mad if that comes sooner. But I think in the
Yeah,
long run, they
agreed.
100% should try to make some money by selling alternative dance moves to players.
Just alternative dance, not hip hop.
Well, any type of nice, any type of dance move. Yeah, no, anything. No, strictly alternative, please. I will say I'm happy to see. I always, whenever I see something like this, I'm a sucker for reading down to comments and getting mad at people being negative. And the top comment on this was negative, and I was like, oh, I was getting all worked up. But then I started reading the rest of the comments, and they were all overwhelmingly positive. So it just made me so happy to see that be the general consensus. And I'll just throw out this as the voice of reason again. If anyone that is thinking that, oh, if they're spending time on a dance move, is this slowing down our actual content of the next island? And I got to say that it's pretty safe to say it's not. Whatever animator worked on this probably had all their animation work done for the next island. So I'm excited that the community is so excited about this. One of the posts I even said this, I like this suggestion. Someone said they need some Tateru backup dancers and we'll be set.
That would be so cool.
I am all for Tateru anything.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we'll get to that shortly, definitely. So,
before we get off this topic, one more
yeah.
thing I want to add on to it. Like the MMOs I mentioned earlier, a lot of them break down the dances that you get based on your character selection, like World of Warcraft or Guild Wars. It's based on your character's race, and every race has a different dance that suits them.
Right.
So in the character selection of Temtem, you have the option to be bold, adventurous, or shy as far as like your tamer's demeanor and how they stand and posture in fights. And I'd be very interested if they make different dance moves based on what animation set you pick for your character. That would be kind of cool.
It's been so long since I've created a character. I remember we picked out our run animation. Was that completely separate of that, or is that tied
Yeah,
to the
that's what
same
I'm
choice?
talking about. The run
That was
animation.
basically it, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that would be really cool. Yeah, I remember picking the different runs and being like, oh man, I got to pick this very carefully because I'm going to be seeing this character run all over the map constantly. I better like the one.
I'm really hoping that they add the ability to change that, because I know some people didn't realize they'd never be able to later on. So, if they add the ability to change that, because, you might not like the dance style.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I almost thought about restarting my main account to change the animation set I picked. I love the cute, the way the cute character stands, but I hate the way the cute character runs. So
I'm just waiting for the Naruto run, right? I was surprised that wasn't already an option. So that's coming eventually, hopefully. So moving along here, we got some highlights from the community. The first one was a Reddit post that we wanted to signal out from Simey Monkey asked a great question, which is, which animal-based Temtem would you like to see in game? They themselves said elephant or stingray manta ray, and I didn't even realize they said elephant, but when I was thinking of my own answer, I immediately said elephant myself. I'm a big fan of elephants in real life, so I really like the elephant Pokemon. What is it, Famfi, something like that?
Yeah.
And then he evolves into, what's the evolved form called?
Dolphin.
Yeah,
or something like that.
So I would love to get a Temtem based on that. What about you two? What would you like to see?
Off the top of my head, nothing immediately comes to mind. Phoenixes are by far my favorite fantasy creature. Seeing something like Phoenix influence in game would be really cool. I don't know if we have a fire wind, but a fire wind would be awesome. But just like building onto that, there was a comment that that mentioned a llama that was a fire type and calling it Llama Ava, or like llama lava. And I was just like, that's so cool. That would be great. Yeah, llama. And the other suggestion they had was lamagma. That's it. Lamagma.
I like that. That's not bad.
Magma. Yeah.
I think unfortunately we've gotten most of or all of the fire temple probably going to see anytime soon since the volcano already came out.
Don't say that. Don't say that, Andrew.
I
don't
think we'll
you-
see a couple more, but not a ton more since we already have that area. But I mean,
Right.
it is kind of divided between nature and fire type. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see another area for
Right.
both of those, maybe that have at least a couple more for each section.
I mean, like in the rock area, you could get a rock fire type or something, I suppose, or a
Yeah,
melee fire
they're
type
gonna
or
mix it up for
mental.
sure. A mental
But
fire
we've
type
already
would be
been through the
cool.
wind and
Ooh.
fire type section, so your wind fire type combo is probably, I don't know, that seems like a slim chance, but we never know. We'll see. I'd be very happy for you.
Does not have. I mean, Tuai does not have a fire
Yeah,
evolution.
you're
yet,
right. There's going to be the
so-
other two vine evolutions, so that'll be wind. Yeah, there'll probably be a wind fire one. You'll probably get your Phoenix there. It's already
Yeah, there we go. I got another dap going on right now.
I'm really excited for the other alternative evolutions of that. I wonder, or do you guys have? I mean, besides, I guess that's maybe Kennedy's wish, but any expectations or hopes for what the other types of evolutions will be from shrines?
I mean, hopefully, you get all of them. Toxic, mental, and
that
all
would be
that. I mean, I would
awesome.
love to see a toxic type 2i evolution and a mental type 2i evolution. Toxic and mental are two of my favorite types. That carries over from Pokemon. I love psychic and poison types, but
Yeah.
I'd really love to see like a ghost style Temtem. I think
Yeah.
it'd be super cool.
That would be
Haunter
awesome.
has always been one of my favorite. Gengar as well. Just I really liked ghost type, so I guess if I could ask for any creature design, it would probably be a ghost style, because I know they're not going to add the type to the game
Yeah.
itself, but to have a actual ghost styled Temtem would be really cool.
Preach. I'm right there with you. I love ghost Pokemon and mental or psychic Pokemon and therefore mental Tems. So I'd love to see a mental two vine. I think it'd be so cool if they add a type for every, but I don't think they're going to, just because there's been 3 islands and only 1 shrine. And so I don't think they're going to have 8 or 9 more shrines for two vine to evolve from, and the remaining 4 islands coming.
Yeah,
No.
something that I think is worth noting is when you think of the Eevee evolutions, originally it was only 3.
Right. That's what I bet we're gonna get. I bet we're gonna get 2 more. I bet we get 2 more shrines.
One thing too in the game, or rather the second thing that's worth expanding on, is the next two vine evolution. As if we were to pay attention to the roadmap, is likely going, or not two vine, 2i, is likely going to be the water one. There are characters in game that allude to where the water shrine is located, and there's a rock climbing ledge of where they think it is.
They talk about a shrine up there. That's right.
Yeah, and the rock climbing gear I think is like 3 patches or 2 patches out. Which, I mean, if they put rock climbing gear in the game and the shrine is accessible, I think that it would also make sense to put in, the water two vine. Or 2i evolution.
That's actually a great point. There could be shrines on all the islands we've already been to. So I would love to be wrong and love to see a minimum of 6 shrines, 1 per island, and we just maybe can't access them all. That would be really cool instead of just 3, but we'll see. Why don't we'll keep moving along here. So we haven't done listener questions for a while, and I have to apologize to everyone because for like 1 or 2 weeks we didn't get any, so I forgot to check for them, and we have a backlog. I'm very happy to report. So for those of you that wrote in and we did an episode and didn't mention it, and you thought maybe we forgot about you, I do apologize. We're going to get to them right now, and it's a great week for it, like we were saying, since we're a little light on news. So,
can I interrupt you real quick?
Yeah.
I want to just say, shame, Andrew, because these listener questions are all so good and all so juicy, and I can't wait to dive into each one.
And you know what? I got so excited, I skipped over one more highlight from the community.
Making me wait even longer. It's unbearable.
my bait and switch to Kennedy. Gaijin Buu, you showed us a great post just beforehand from Dead Fox Z, which you were explaining that you had a connection with, or they did some work with you as well.
Yeah, Dead Fox. They're actually basically my Discord manager as well as my channel artist. I found them on Twitter a while back, and ever since I messaged them and I asked them if they could make something for me, and we ended up becoming pretty good friends. And we just we talk all the time. They do a lot of my channel art for me, and yeah, so we're pretty good friends now.
So you're saying you can hook us up. I'm just trying to get all the free stuff. So you're saying you can hook us up with some YouTube channel art for ourselves in addition to the Lumas. Awesome.
Man,
Thank
we
you.
need to have Gaijin on every
Yeah,
single
he's our
episode. There we
connection.
go.
Yeah.
That's right.
For
Free
sure.
stuff. Free stuff all around.
So Dead Fox made an awesome, cute little. It's so cute and adorable, but also so funny. It's this picture of 4 baby Taterus, which are adorable, and it's one of those like positive, feel good, self-help, mental build-up things. So it says, "For anyone who needs to hear this today, I hope you are doing well." And it starts off with, "It's okay to ask for help. You're not a burden," and then it throws in, "Murder is okay," and then your feelings matter. It's so adorable.
That's so appropriate too for Tateru.
For Temtem, yeah,
Well,
it's perfect.
Well, actually, just Tateru in general right now is ripping the meta apart. Tateru first pick and rank competitive matches is seldom ever a bad thing, and it just throws out so much damage.
I like that Tateru is kind of becoming a community favorite between the April Fool's joke in the meta, this art now, your Nuzlocke run that we're going to talk about. It's quickly becoming the mascot for Temtem, I think.
Well, so Tateru actually has the highest base stats in the game at this point. So it's actually, out of all the other Temtem in the game, it has the highest base stats at 488. I think it's just like 2 points above the next one, but it's crazy. It's a really good all-arounder. It can deal a massive lot of damage, and it can take a lot of damage. So, depending on how you build it, it's either a tank or a destroyer, and also still tanky.
Can just do everything, and it's cute and adorable. You forgot the most important points.
I mean, everybody already knows that, though.
It's almost. I wonder if it's too much. Maybe it's exaggeration. It's kind of fun, like the Pikachu of Temtem, maybe.
It's questionable whether that will be the case. I mean, Tateru is really, really cute, and I think people really like Platypet, but where that was already originally a Pokemon design, I don't think that could ever technically be the actual mascot for the game.
Right.
But
yeah, for Tateru, I'm not sure. You said Tateru, so now that's in my mind of how to pronounce it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no like anime, so we don't know how to pronounce these names. They're just there, and you kind of go off what you see. So I mean, I read it Tateru, but I'm from New England. I just read things as I see them.
I mean, it's pretty safe to say that if me, Andrew, is saying a Temtem's name one way, that's not the correct way. So that leaves credibility and weight to your pronunciation being accurate.
But one thing that's worth noting for Tateru is, has Pikachu ever been the CEO of their own company? They've been a detective before.
That's true. He's got quite the resume already.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Pikachu is the CEO of a ketchup company, though.
Fair.
All right, without further ado, our listener write-ins and emails. So our first one is an email from Darius. You can be cool like Darius and these other people by sending us emails at temtalkshow@gmail.com, and I won't let them sit for another 2 weeks, I promise. Otherwise, feel free to comment on any of our stuff online that we post. We'll see it there as well. So Darius writes, "How's it going? I listen to your podcast every week. I want to say I'm always happy to see the success from a fellow Minnesotan. So yay for that. I love seeing another Minnesotan out there." And they have 2 questions. The first one being, do you believe that ranked ladder is not as participated in even with the pants on incentive because the meta is very concrete and discourages casuals because of how few and how seasoned many ranked players are ready? And I'll just weigh in on this first right away and let you guys probably give a more insightful answer. But my gut reaction is I think it's a fair point that I know Kennedy especially talked about it. There seems like there's a lot of variety in the ladder, and there can be, but at the end of the day, I think it is still a little limited, and you do see a lot of the same Tems over and over. And I know personally, it feels like whenever I play as someone who's very casual at it, that everyone seems to be a lot better. So it can be a little discouraging. But all of that said, I don't think that's the reason that there's not a huge amount of participation in the ranked ladder. I think that's just a general reflection of the ebb and flow of the game as it goes through its early access. I think more than anything that we're just in a little bit of a lull, and it's going to pick back up as more content comes out. I don't think the actual state of the meta is impacting the level of participation. Maybe a little bit, but I don't know. That's my take. What do you guys think?
I have quite a few comments on this, so I'll let Gaijin respond before I rant for a year and a half.
Okay, yeah. So I've never actually played a single competitive match or even a PvP match as of yet. I do plan to get into it. I'm slowly building my team because I want to do non-competitive. I want to compete in some of the tournaments that people have and stuff like that. But I don't have the pansons to build my team, and I don't have the mental know-how as of yet. I still have a lot to learn. So as somebody that doesn't know anything about competitive or ranked or any of that stuff, I think it can be daunting to look at and attempt to get into. I know I am kind of scared a little bit just because I know nothing, and I know there's a lot of people that have been playing a long time, but no matter what game you play where there's competitive PvP, there will always be people that it's all they do, and there's going to be some people that probably affects in a way where they don't want to play it, but you got to try. I mean, you're never going to get better at it if you don't, and the meta is going to continue to change, so you have to kind of keep up on that because the meta does matter. You can go a little bit outside the meta, but at the same time, not really. You got to stick to it.
I think you can if you're a really high level player and have a lot of success, but I think a very casual player trying to get creative is going to feel a little punished.
Oh, for
right
sure.
now, probably. When we had here on Cranon, he talked about some out of the box stuff he was doing that definitely works. So I think there's possibilities for it, but someone like me probably couldn't make that stuff work, right? So.
Yeah, Mix was not really heavily in the meta, but somebody started using them. They mixed it up, and pun.
Nice, and well done.
They, they had people recognize that Mix was viable Temtem. So there are Temtem that probably haven't been discovered yet, but you do have 100%. To learn to play with TV spreads. You do need to take the time to do TV training, and you have to realize, you can't just go 500 in one stat and 500 in another stat. There's wasted TVs there, and sometimes maxing out the stats just in general. First of all, it's not worth it because 500, from 500 to 493 or 87 or something like that is you don't go up any points in stats, so you're wasting TVs there, and then you've got maybe 500 or 400 or whatever's not what you need. Maybe you need a little bit less because you're still going to outspeed certain Temtem at this TV and all that. So it's a lot of learning and messing with the TVs, but
yeah.
I'll jump in from there.
All right,
and
guys, get ready to rein him in for me after he goes off for about 3-4 minutes.
I don't know. I'll try and keep this contained, but I think this is one of those areas where there are two factors we have to consider. That one, Temtem is not a complete game. It's in early access, and that comes with any critique of Temtem. But then two, it's one of those areas where people are never going to be completely happy in this, in that when you look at how they use Pansons to incentivize players to play rank, that other players took advantage and abused the system, and then they had to nerf the Panson rewards so that people didn't abuse it, and then people got mad that they reduced the rewards, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But then when you say the meta is very concrete, Temtem just celebrated its third anniversary, or its 3-month anniversary, this month. And in the 3 months that Temtem has been out, people have been running tournaments for Temtem like crazy, even though we've only had the rank ladder for about a month. And through the whole competitive scene of Temtem, we've seen 3 entirely different metas. Whereas first our meta was aerobic Bowlerin and a very quick Gaialis, and it was a heavy damage meta. The community then responded to that with bringing tankier Tims, bringing double fires to a team, double fire Tims, because fire Tims were so good at handling physical attackers and absorbing damage, reducing speed, and slowing down the pace of the game. And then we got an ultra tank meta. And then with one balance patch, that whole meta has now shifted that tanks can't do anything against hypnosis users because they don't put out enough damage to stop the hypnosis users from setting up and then, setting up to deal so much damage. And now we're in a win meta with Grandpa, Pigapek, and even though Kinu is not a win Tim, it has access to turbo choreography. And it has access to hypnosis, and the combination of those two things makes Kinu really, really great. And so now we're in an entirely different meta where the thing is controlling around turbo choreography and hypnosis and setting up huge hyperkinetic strikes on, Volorend and Grandpa, which is, very different from the Gaialis Ukama starts that we saw
If I may pause you there and ask a question on those. I mean, so there's no dispute that the tournament meta has evolved and changed constantly and is not stale.
Yeah, not even tournament, but rank ladder too.
That's my question. I guess I haven't done enough rank ladder over enough time, but I don't feel the same ebb and flow there. I feel like I see Voloren, Gaialis, Pigapek, Kinu on everyone's ladder every match the few weeks that it's been out so far, and that hasn't changed or gone away. And I think that's why people feel like everything you said is true, but it doesn't change the fact I see a Volrend on every single team,
Yeah. And also I guess it's worth stating on how you run those Tims. So that's
a good point. A lot of people probably don't realize that the Volrend they see might be different week to week, where everyone just sees, oh, it's Volrend again, and they don't know that maybe the traits that are being used are being switched. So it makes it a little, deceptive of staleness when they could be changing up more than people realize.
Yeah, a relaxed Pigapek is completely different from, a tornado pressure Pigapek, which is completely different from, like a hypnosis Pigapek. For the reasons why you run it. And relaxed Pigapek's kind of like dead now because of the alert changes to the game. But all of that said, I would say from my discussion with other players, what scares people off from rank is not the lack of incentive, because you make so much money from rank. And I wouldn't say it's the fear of a concrete meta, because the meta changes so much. And I, don't even doubt the next balance patch we see, or even the next introduction of Tims, is going to completely shift everything again. I would say one of the things that discourages people from the meta is understanding how to TV train your Tims and the amount of time it takes to TV train a Tim, especially if it's your first time doing it. It takes, if you're just doing it casually, for me, it takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to completely TV train a Tim. And then if you take that and you multiply it to 8 Tims that are going to be on your competitive team, 8 times 2 is 16 hours of time you have to dedicate to doing this.
You're throwing all his math out this week constantly, all right? I'm not here for math. I'm here for Temtem.
Yeah, well, and so I'll say that I will try and truncate all of that and say TV training and getting the right skills and things on your Tims is what I see holding people back a lot. And it's actually not as fearful as a lot of people think it is, because when you have the proteins and you have the Coward's Cloak, you can have one Tim out to kill all the Tims you're going to fight, one Tim out with the proteins to get double TVs, and then one Tim with the Coward's Cloak to get TVs. So you can double the speed at which you are TV training and turn that 16 hours into 8 hours. And then if you're using your proteins right on switching them between the Tims, you can turn that 8 hours into 6 hours, as long as when you go to the spot to HP train, you have 3 different Tims that need HP training and you get them all there. And so it's really kind of like a fear of a mountain that isn't as tall as we think it is.
No, I think it's definitely it definitely gatekeeps the competitive, because that's what kept me from doing it. Is the feature came out and it took me 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks to actually start doing it, because I didn't have all 8 Tem TV trained yet, and I was kind of dragging my feet on it. So I definitely think that could be the case for other players. And hopefully as people get more and more TV trained Tems in the bank, it's easier to make it's very digestible to TV train one new Tem and make a switch, and the TV train all full of the 8 that you need for your competitive lineup. It's even more than a normal Temtem team. So moving along here before we spend the whole episode on this with Kennedy.
I talked very fast.
You did great. Darius also asked, I do not know myself, but is there a way in-game that people know what is in Park and the rewards? My little brother does not have social media, and I'm his only source to know what is in Park. Should there be an in-game interface that pops up like mail to tell players what the weekly reset will be? And I gotta say, first off, this is just the essence of this question is so adorable. I just imagine his little brother playing Temtem with him, and the older brother or sister, I should say, of saying, "Oh, this is what you can get this week." I think it's such a cute interaction I'm imagining in my head. With that said, yes, there should be something like this in game, and Krima has said that is the intention. When Park was released, they said that there's no in-game pop-up window to show what's going on in Park, but it is an intended feature. So that is going to be coming eventually. They will have a thing where I'm guessing you probably go up and talk to the front desk of the Park, and you'll pop up the little graphic that they currently post on Twitter every week. So we don't have it yet. There's no way to do it now. You're going to have to keep relaying that information, but they are going to add that in the future. Any quick comments from you guys? There's not a lot of discussion point there, but anything to add?
Super quick. Like Andrew said, there's nothing that says like the in-depth details, but that feature you're talking about at Park, if you talk to the front desk, they will tell you what Tims are available in Park, although they won't tell you the Luma rate or, the egg move rate.
Will they even say it's increased Luma, or do they just say this is the Tims you can catch this week?
You know what? I should know that because I just left Park a couple hours ago, but I don't know. I just know you can talk and they'll tell you what's there.
Let's be real. We just kind of all skip through what they're saying because we just want to get in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. And we've all seen it online already, so we know what it is. Yeah.
And then Free Tim tells you what your current next tier reward is, but again, they don't tell you what all the tier rewards are.
I feel like that'd be such people always say it'd be so easy for them to program this and change this, and we never really know what it would involve. But that'd be a good stopgap, is have the front desk say you can catch these Lumas or these Tems this week, and they have an increased Luma chance. Just, they don't have to say the ×2, ×3, the percentage of spawn, but just something like that, or say you can catch these Tems this week, and there's a chance they'll be stronger. Just allude to the fact that it's increased SVs. You think that it'd be pretty easy to temporarily have that available there, but who knows?
Hey, if you want this, Darius, in game, I would say go make a suggestion on the official Temtem forums. I was reading through some posts from the community manager, Itsuki, and they confirmed that I don't remember if they even threw out a number, but pretty much their statement was everything that gets posted in the suggestion forums, as long as it's like not a horrific idea, gets folded into the game somehow, even, in minor ways in the far future of just like, oh, let's do this here. And they go through everything there. So if it's like super important to you, definitely go suggest it.
I completely agree there. I feel like a lot of people probably don't know about the official forums. A lot of people turn to Reddit or the Discord or these other channels to complain or report issues, and unfortunately they can't be everywhere at once. So if you want to actually report an issue or suggest a feature or a change, it would be best to go to the forums. I know I did when I found something that I thought should be changed. The storage box management is not great. You can't move multiple Tems at a time. You can't name your boxes. And whenever you search for a specific Temtem, like, I'm looking for, say, Tateru. I type in Tateru to search and it pulls up all my Taterus. Wonderful. But then you click on one and you go to details and you try to switch to the next one, and all of a sudden it breaks the search filter. You're back to the regular inbox and you go to the next Temtem, which it doesn't make sense. I use search to find Tateru. I need to look through all my Taterus, but now I can't.
Yeah, that's painful. Our next email comes from Salarius, And this is props to you, Kennedy. Here, you'll enjoy this one. He says, "Hey guys, I've really been," and this is I'm sorry, this is one of our little bit of an older ones, so it refers to.
Before you read this, can I tell Gaijin some important protocol for the podcast? Since this podcast is audio, nobody can tell when you're dabbing, so you have to point out every time you do a dab, and I'm dabbing right now. So.
At some point, we'll plan to up our production quality so people can see you dabbing live. That's coming at some point in the future, I'm sure.
Future balance patch.
Salarius writes, "Hey guys, I've been enjoying listening to the podcast every week. I wanted to thank Kennedy for the idea to TV train in the Sci Park. This week I finished the speed TVs on 3 different Tems in about half the time it would take to get the Pansuns for berries. This was back when Bun Bun was in the Sci Park, and you were like, you can hunt for Luma Bun Buns and also speed TV train while you do it. So it was a great tip. I'm interested in getting more into competitive play and wondered if it would be possible for you to occasionally record a post-game interview with a player in a match that you do commentary on and have it as its own segment of the podcast. Thanks again for the podcast. I look forward to it every week." I would say that's would be great, Kennedy, if you ever are able to get any interviews with some of the players from the tournaments on how a specific match or tournament goes and some of their insights, and we tack on a little 15-20 minute segment into the show. I'd be more than happy and willing to do that.
That would be super cool, but I will put some things on the horizon for this viewer that I saw you, Andrew, and I don't know where I saw this or why I saw this, but you and Huron Crane were talking to each other about bringing Huron Crane back into the match. And I know there's a big cash tournament coming up today, and there's going to be like another cash tournament coming up very soon that I don't even know if I'm allowed to mention this. They're thinking about upping the prize pool and doubling the amount of money in it. So the decision hasn't been made by the tournament organizers, but juicy gossip. But anyways, when this podcast is being recorded, there's a big tournament today. I'm pretty sure Huron Crane's going to try and compete in it, and a couple other people. But yeah, I'll reach out to some people, and if Andrew, you're cool with it, we'll try and bring them on the show and just talk about one of the matches or something.
Definitely. Definitely. And just going back to some interesting YouTube comments we had. As those will recall, we did our lore episode, which was very highly well received, by the way. I think it's a lot of people's favorite that we've done so far. We had a science segment of the podcast where two very, I won't speak for you, Kennedy, but at least me, very unscientific person trying to talk about physics in the world of Temtem. And so we were talking about how the islands orbit around the Pan Sun. In a gravitational pull, and you're like, well, how come we don't float off the islands? I'm like, well, it's got to work just the way it does in real life. So anyways, the point is Chris made a comment about how it would work, and it, again, I don't know Chris's credentials, but he sounds smart and he knows what he's talking about to me, so I'll pretend he has a background in this. But he just pointed out that the Pan-Sun and islands are far enough away from the down below. Oh, that was your thing, that you thought we should be getting pulled down to the down below, right? Or something like that.
I mean, we still fall down, and so
here comes the backpedaling. Here comes the backpedaling. Here we go.
Bolin brings up a lot of great points in this message you're about to read, and I'll let it get read. But there's a moment where our
Chris, I'd like you to get ready to comment on this episode and correct him again. Get your comment reply ready.
Spoiler warnings for anybody watching the podcast. Please tune out for the next 3 minutes if you have not finished the Temtem storyline. Because I didn't mention this that episode.
Not finished the Temtem storyline, but go on.
There's a moment where you're traveling in between. Islands, and your ship gets destroyed, attacked by the Bel Soto, and they have to direct you towards the island of Tumka, where your ship goes down. And it's just like, if your ship is getting destroyed out in the middle of nowhere, I feel rather than going down towards the down below, you should be pulled towards the Pan-Sun, if that makes sense.
So there's
a lot of stuff that Bolins brings up here that's good information. But that's what I specifically didn't mention on last episode.
So what Chris wrote here, without further ado, he says the Pan-Sun Islands are far enough away from the down below so that the mass makes gravity from the pan-sun is enough to have the islands orbit around it. The islands themselves still have a mass and thus also have their own gravitational pulls. Orbits are caused by, and remember, this is everyone's physics lessons of the week, thank you very much. Orbits are caused by a perfect balance in an object's moving motion and another object's gravitational pull. The islands are constantly being pulled to the pan-sun, but also moving forward. They're in a perfect orbit around it. If you left one of the islands far enough, eventually you'll fall too far into the pan-sun's gravitational pull and get pulled into it slowly. But on the islands themselves, you are on the gravity of the island. If you jump, you don't get yeeted into a wall as the ground below you moves away. So depending on where the airship is, it'll either be crashing on the island if it is above it or near enough to it as it's on the gravitational pull. This goes to your specific point. Or if it fly into the pan-sun, if it's within that pull, or if it's too far away from either of those, presumably we don't know everything that's out there yet, it gets pulled down to the down below where it crashes. So basically what Chris was just saying is that the island, the pan-sun has the largest gravitational pull and pulls the islands around it. The islands themselves have massive gravitational pulls that pull you to them. So if an airship's flying between islands and crashes, like what happens in the storyline, you're going to get pulled towards the closest island and crash there.
Yeah, that's fair.
But if you get far enough away from the islands, then sure, in theory, you could get pulled down to the down below or the
There's
up above.
something in the down below, and I want to know what.
This is all very niche meta Temtem fake site. Like we're very out there right now in this discussion point going deep, but it's a Temtem podcast, so where else are we gonna is a discussion that's gonna happen?
That kid who's rock hopping to Kissawa is dead, and he's in the down below. I want to find his corpse and bring it back to his mom.
So I don't know, Gaijin Buu, any comments on this, or are we way over your head with all of our physics meta talk?
I mean,
what do you think? What's your take on all this?
Physics is not really my thing. I know you throw stuff up and it comes back down, but that's about as far as my take on physics go. Although I hope there's a Demigorgon in the down below.
Right? Yeah, there you go. Some Stranger Things? No. No, like we mentioned before, I hope that the full release goes well and well enough that they make some expansion of the game and we get to visit it down below, in Gen 2 maybe or something, as we've mentioned before. So we'll see. But I'm going to keep moving along here. So the last listener thing I'll just mention real quick is Zep5 made a comment on YouTube asking if we would help mention his subreddit creator, and I definitely want to mention it because I love the idea. He created a subreddit that sounds pretty small so far, but it's hopefully grown since then and is still growing, called Temtem Recruit. And it's basically just a subreddit to help find clubs or advertise a club. So if you're looking for a club or you want to advertise a club that you have, we talked about clubs last week and some of the ones out there that are very well known and participating in the club wars. But if you're looking for more, go check out the subreddit Temtem Recruit. I'm very happy to give them a shout out and do anything we can here to help, build this community around Temtem. So be like all of these great people and give us some feedback, give us some comments, write us at temtalkshow@gmail.com. With that said, let's move forward to what we've been up to this week. And all I really want to say is steal Kennedy's thunder and say that you finally finished your placement matches, about time. And I had a lot of smack talk egging you on because you made fun of my TMR. You officially did have a higher TMR rating than me when you placement, so I kind of have to. There's not much I can say. With that said, I'll let you tell. You want to tell people how it actually went, what your final TMR?
Yeah, I finished my placement matches, and I placed 1075. I went 6-4, which isn't amazing. But it really made me think about how Temtem does their matchmaking algorithm, because I believe you went 6-4 too, right, Andrew?
It sounds right. 6-4. Yeah, I think I did go 6-4. Yeah.
And so it just makes me really think about the matchmaking algorithm and how it was pairing me against other people, because every one of my games was very challenging, and I felt like I was on an even footing with my opponent. And it was very difficult, and it was like one or two decisions that tipped the game in my favor of just barely winning. And by the end of my placements, I was just like, man, this algorithm is killing it. It's putting me against people that are actually challenging me. And every game that I've won, I felt like I've really had to work for it. And every one I lost, I felt like there were 2 or 3 things I could have did better that would have saved me the game. And I actually made a post on the Reddit about the matchmaking algorithm that other people chimed in and talked about. And a lot of people kind of had like the similar experience of like it's very rare when they get in a game where they just get completely destroyed or they completely destroy their opponent, whereas they felt like the algorithm has done a good job of like matching them against other people.
Yeah, I would say that's fair. I felt pretty equally matched in most of my matches. I think the whole, we both have the same win-loss rate, but you have a higher rating. I know I started mine out. I did like all three of my losses. Like I think we're right, match 1, 2, and 3. So I think I tanked my rating down and then got some easier opponents and slowly built my way up. And that's why I probably ended up with a lower TMR than you I'd suspect. Because I know you started out with a win, and I'm guessing you had some additional wins. So you were building yours up, and then slowly it got brought down with your losses, where I was kind of digging my way out of a hole the whole time, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's like, again, I'll just commend them on that just because it felt real like fair. And then going in, you asked me to play a couple games after it and give you my experience on that. Of it, I still felt good about the system.
Right up front, where's your TMR? Is it up or down from your placement rating?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, yes.
No,
good.
I didn't.
Good. How the turntables turn, as Michael Scott would say.
How the turntables.
It's currently at 10:32.
That's not that bad.
Yeah, 10:30 or 10:40. I dropped and then I climbed and then I dropped and then I climbed. And so what I've been up to this week, I've been playing a lot of competitive Tims. I've been watching, we were going to do this episode as like a community spotlight episode. So I watch Tim streams in the background, but I don't ever interact with people. And and more than anything this week, I've been interacting in all of the streams that I lurk in. And so I've been reaching out to people, sending messages, and it actually netted me some cool Tims. One guy gave me a Arkham Knight. I'll plug him here. He's cool. He gave me a Gaialis with 4 egg moves that I plan on TV training. That he was giving out to all of the viewers that day. He bred like 100 of them, was just giving them out, and he's doing pick a pet next. And so that was really cool, reaching out and talking to him. I got a Adoraboros off of Umi's stream, Umi no Kaiju. And then she also gave me a Luali just like for free. That wasn't great or anything. It's just a breed check she was going to throw away. A Gaijin, I almost won a Luma Psypat off of him. I think I finished in 3rd place on that marble race. Yeah, exactly. So I've just been having a lot of fun in Tim this week, playing a lot of ranked, watching a lot of streams, talking and hanging out with people.
Yeah, I had a similar yo-yoing with my TMR where I started, I don't know what, I was below 900 like we said. I was able to build it all the way up to above 1,000. And then I played some matches late at night when I was tired, and I dropped that back down to like low 900s. So, Gaijin Buu, I as far as Nuzlocke, I want to say that's our main topic. So if you've been doing any Nuzlocke stuff, let's talk about that in our main topic here in a little bit. Outside of that, is there anything else you've been up to this week you want to share or talk about in game?
I mean, just been hunting for Lumigialis. I have terrible RNG ever since I found a Barnchi early on in the game. Ever since then, I don't have good RNG. So I've got nothing.
That's tough.
Just hunting
You're going
Cypark.
for the 5% spawn rate already, Thames, and then a Luma on top of it. You're making it difficult.
I mean,
You're
actually,
going for the hard ones.
Gialis is 10%, but with the Psypark, it's 2.5 times, and
Well, good luck. I hope you get it soon. I hope you get it very soon. So let's just roll straight into our Tem of the week, and we've been talking about it so much, it only makes sense for Tateru to be our Tem of the week. And listen, I'm gonna let both the two of you run with this. Kennedy, if you want to give us your kind of high-level overview like you usually do, and then Gaijin Buu, you already given some great insight about the base stats and the versatility of them, but we can iron out any finer details there with everyone.
Yeah, it's for Gaijin, and I guess for the listeners too, just basically how we do this. We kind of go through the Tempedia, the Gamepedia page,
Don't
then we just
give away our secrets.
Oh,
we do
okay.
a lot of
I mean,
research. We just know this information.
I wrote this document, and I'll share
Yeah.
it with you right now.
We definitely don't just read off the wiki page. Don't pull
yeah,
back the curtain and tell them how the sauce gets made.
Yeah, we don't read off the wiki page, but all right. So the base color of Tateru is white. The patches are of light blue green skin appear on its arms and legs, around its eyes, and it's got such a little cute tum-tum. The only area of its body that contains no white is the ears. Tateru's inner eyes are navy blue and has a short antenna drooping from the tips of its ears. The two eyes are black and beady, and the mouth is curved not far below the eyes. Tateru has some dark oval shapes on the upper side of both of its legs. In addition, Tateru are stated to be amazingly tall, which they are. I've noticed they're like almost the size of your tamer. Despite their impressive height, Tateru are quite shy and not naturally aggressive. That's why they need proper training before battle. Wild Tateru are recognized for their upright position and sensitive antenna, and are always alert. Some things to note about Tateru. Its traits: it has soft touch and resilient. Soft touch lets it attack into a sleeping Temtem without waking it, and resilient lets it attack and overexert without dying. And then it's type, because it's a normal type, it is only, mental is the only thing that's super effective to it, and it takes neutral damage from everything else. Some moves of note that Tateru gets. Stoneball is so good, and it's why one of the reasons Tateru can be first picked right now without any hesitation, because Gaialis is such a threat in the meta, and Stoneball is an earth move with 130 base damage.
I gotta say, about this caught me completely by surprise. I did not know that Tateru had this move and could do an earth damage, and I first picked a crystal sweeper, and I was like, Tateru, I'll just ignore that. and then they threw a Stoneball at me and annihilated me, and I promptly lost that match, and my rating went down.
The next thing that's really of note for Tateru, it gets access to Noxious Bomb, which is always good, Turbo Choreography, which is always good, but it is either the best or second best user of a move called Major Slash in the game, which is a base move that deals 150 base damage, which is one of the highest in the game, and because it's a normal type, it has a same type attack bonus, which means it deals 50% more damage when Tateru uses it. So Tateru using Major Slash is on par with Valash using Major Slash. And you might know Valash as one of the best physical attackers in the game currently. And Tateru can kind of outdo Valash because he's got access to Stoneball. The final thing that is worth noting for Tateru is it can be, you can breed Perfect Jab onto it, which Tateru is such a great physical attacker. When it gets against something that's physically defensive, it can still lower the defenses of the enemy team and then attack through with those heavy moves like Stoneball and Major Slash later in the game. With that, we've been praising Tateru all podcast long. Is there anything you want to go on about Tateru, Gaijin? Because you are the reason why I picked Tateru this week.
I mean, Tateru is just kind of really the Pokemon of the century, to be honest, personally. Mm-hmm. But, we'll go with month or week or day. No, I mean, I think you pretty much, covered everything. I pretty much said, anything that I could really think of. They're just a great all-around Temtem, highest base stats, and it's really cool to actually see them come into the meta. And I'm disappointed that I can't use a team of 6 perfect Taterus in competitive. But other than that,
well, and in case anyone didn't catch it, you did one of the things that we're going to talk about why we keep talking about so much is you've done a Nuzlocke only with Taterus called Tateru locks. So you have a team of only Taterus going through the whole storyline. That's correct, right? That's my understanding of it.
That is correct. Yeah.
So, which is just completely ridiculous and mind-boggling. I love it for how ridiculous that concept is. So
yeah, it's interesting for sure.
I witnessed the death of Tater Tot on stream this week. No. It was so sad. When I first tuned into your stream, I was just like, oh, Tateru is decent. Like, it's not hard to do a Nuzlocke run of all Taterus. And then I've been really watching your stream this week, and I was like, oh, no, Taterus!
Yeah.
Tateru is a good Tim, but I think that just goes to show the amount of strategy you need in this game, that just taking a great Tim with no strategy forward doesn't just instantly win you matches. Like, you still have to think about everything, even,
Right.
against the merciless NPCs.
You have to know, the biggest thing is you have to know when somebody would actually use a move and what moves Temtem have. So for example, Tater Tot died because I forgot that Saku gets narcoleptic hit relatively earlier on. I tanked one narcoleptic hit. I ended up healing, and the other Tateru on my team, Tater Tot, had some ticks of poison, and I thought it would be fine. And I didn't think they would use narcoleptic hits so quickly again, because I didn't realize it wasn't a 3-hold, but it's 150 base damage mental type attack. So it does double damage. I wasn't aware it was mental type, and it ended up hitting the Tateru with poison on it, and it had 1 tick of poison left. And by the time it had done the damage, it had just enough health left for the poison to kill it, and it was really sad.
I mean, Nuzlocke in its own identity is just such a punishing way to play. I can only imagine how painful moments like that are. And yeah, I have enough trouble with the base game itself and being punished and losing matches. So I can only imagine the permanency of the losses and mistakes are just exaggerated so much when you're playing on a Nuzlocke run. So
Yeah.
Anything else on Tateru before we move on?
Not me.
Yeah, Tateru, Tim of the Week. Train one, try it out.
You won't be disappointed. All right, so our main topic today is very exciting, and it's why Gaijin Buu has joined us. Is we're going to be talking all about Nuzlocke mode and telling you what it is, tips for it, and talk about all the special fun ways that you've been running with it. Gaijin Buu, all the twists, and for some insane reason, I don't know, you need to have your head checked or something, I think, because Nuzlocke mode seems so challenging and self-imposed already. I don't know why you'd want to make it harder, but I'm excited to hear you talk about why. So right off the top, why don't you just basic Nuzlocke mode, why don't you just kind of explain to everyone what it is, what the requirements of it are, maybe the origins of it if you're familiar, and
Sure.
We'll start with that.
Yeah, so I can't remember exactly when it was, but it was a long time ago. A comic came out about basically what ended up becoming Nuzlocke. Somebody wanted to make the game harder, and there was a comic that people in the community just kind of ran with in Pokemon. And Nuzlocke mode essentially is a way to make Pokemon harder because a lot of people think it's too easy. So Temtem's already harder than Pokemon right out of the gate.
Yes, it is.
They kind of set that stage in the first battle. I'm not gonna spoiler anything for it, but the first battle's difficult. I'll leave it at that. But basically a Nuzlocke challenge is just a way to make the game harder, and it does so by a couple of rules. The original rules are essentially any Temtem that faints is considered dead and must be released or put back in the Temporium storage box permanently. It cannot be revived. It cannot be taken back out. It must remain dead, essentially.
Can I ask? I'm curious. So I know that they're going to officially make it a mode in Temtem, and right now it's all player imposed. Did Pokemon make it an official setting or difficulty, or is it all just player imposed there as well?
Nope, it's 100% player imposed. Okay. The Pokemon Company has not seemed to try to want to make the game more difficult, and in fact, I think they just continue to add ways to make it easier.
Right. Well, I think that's a great thing about Prima, right? That they want to add Nuzlocke mode as an option on top of making the game harder.
Well, the way I look at Temtem is, I look at it as it's like a love letter to the Pokemon fans. It's essentially what we've all been asking for, what we've always wanted, and Crema just decided to listen and do it, since Pokemon seems to listen very slowly. I know there's a big company and all that stuff, but it's not that hard to add a harder difficulty for veteran players. There's a lot of people that have been playing the game for 20 years, and we know what we're doing. We don't need to be handheld. So, I love that Krema's doing this. I love that they made a harder version of the game already, just with Temtem alone. But just adding the Nuzlocke itself is really cool, and I'm going to be interested to see how they do it. If they're going to give you the option to turn on some of the optional rules as well, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So I kind of stopped you mid explanation. So you're just
No.
saying how if you lose a Temtem, you have to release it and or just store it away and not use it. So you can keep on going on telling us about it.
So that Temtem's dead permanently. You're done with it. You can't use it anymore. Simple as that. But the next rule is that you can only catch the first Temtem encountered in each route, and no other Temtem. So if you end up encountering a Temtem in that route, you have to catch it, the first one, and if you kill it, you have to move to the next route. That route's done. You can't catch another one. So early on in the game, there's not a lot of routes in Temtem, which kind of makes it a little bit difficult. Because I think on the first island, there's maybe 6 routes. I can't remember right off the top of my head, but it's not very many. So Nuzlocke challenges in Temtem are a little bit more difficult just because of that. But then
top of everything else being harder. I can imagine
Right.
it's got to be pretty easy to just fail a Nuzlocke run if you don't.
Oh,
if you lose
it's happened.
If you too quickly.
Numerous times. Lots of streamers have attempted to do Nuzlocke runs of Temtem. It's very difficult. It's certainly not easy. I think the way I'm doing it with the Tateru lock, I assumed it was going to be a little bit more difficult just because Tateru is a neutral type. Most of its moves are neutral type early on. But it's turning out, it's not as difficult as I thought it was going to be. And part of that might be, not necessarily, but might be because of with the Tateru lock, obviously Tateru does not spawn in many other routes in the game. It's first island and that's it. So I ended up catching 29 Taterus because there are 29 routes. And by catching 29, I killed 2 in the early beginning. So I have 27 total. But having the 6 Taterus right out of the gate might have made it a little bit easier than it was for some people doing a regular Nuzlocke challenge. But
I think it balances out for the fact that they're all the same type.
Right. I don't do any super effective damage. There's a lot of mental type Temtem in the first island, and moving forward, there's several also that have mental type moves that I'll obviously forget about, like Saku. There's plenty of Saku on the second island and third island, so. Here we go.
You said you're at 27. How far have you gotten so far with it? How much do you have left to go through?
So I'm actually less than 27 now. So I killed 2 when trying to catch them initially. So those 2 were immediately dead and thrown into the box. So I caught 2 more just to put them into the graveyard just for posterity.
Yeah.
And so then I ended up having one. So I let people name their Taterus as well. So one of my viewers, they named Brumisiago was their Tateru, and unfortunately the name Brumisiago fell onto a terrible stat Tateru, which actually is very common in my run. Most of them have terrible stats, so I got really unlucky. But
I didn't feel that you can't be picky and choosy with SVs. You're just stuck with whatever you get.
Exactly. Nope. You get what you get. The first ones you get. So I ended up. They redeemed 10,000 channel points to try and kill. Choose another one. They wanted me to catch another, and I told them I couldn't do that. So they decided they wanted to use those points to kill it. And I let them. It was early on, so I let them use their channel points to kill it.
Oh no! Funny.
So I lost a third one that way, and then I have lost 2 more since. I lost Tateru in a battle in the Arisola dojo. One of the tamers had that Saku, which they put poison out, and then they did narcoleptic hit, and I ended up killing my Tateru. I did end up going through and finishing the Arisola dojo, beating Sophia without any problems. I had pulled out another Tateru to level up.
That in itself was impressive because I struggled to beat Sophia with a full lineup of Temtem. So actually, what is this is kind of one of the questions I wanted to ask you on fighting Sophie in a gym leader. How do you plan for that? What's some tips for some of that? Because those dojo fights are extremely difficult. So
They are.
I mean, how do you approach that? How did you do that? I need to know more. This is really fascinating to me. You know, on paper, when I heard about Nuzlocke, I was like, that's not for me. I'm not interested. That sounds hard. And the more I hear about this, I want to try doing this myself. I want to watch your stream.
It's really
now.
fun.
I think I watched you, Gaijin, and I don't know if you're just trying to make this even more difficult on yourself. I watched you for like 2 days, TV train on Psypats in like the worst possible Psypat spawning area, where I was just like,
well, so I was actually TV training on FOMU, and it had a 10% FOMU spawn, because I needed special defense. I was taking on Lady Lottie. Lady Lottie has a Hocus, which has has Gamma Burst, and it's a stab move. So that means it does the 50% more damage because it's mental type. So it does 150 base damage, which means 300 base damage to Tateru because it's double effective, and I needed special defense, and most of my Tateru just had terrible special defense. So I spent a lot of time TV training against FOMU in a 10% spawn rate for FOMU because it's the only place it spawns in the game before getting the surfboard.
I think the most difficult part about watching that was knowing that once you get past that point, there's a patch of grass on the other side of the river that is 100%
right, where it's nothing
spawn
before
rate.
Actually, so right there where I was training at the bottom of Windward Fort where Sophia's cell is, as soon as you get the surfboard, that water right there is 100%. It's right in front of me, but I can't get in the water. You can't swim. I mean, there's plenty of other people swimming, but not us.
I love just thinking in character that your character is sitting there on the beach just struggling to find them, and he, like 10 feet over, they see just them abundance of them splashing around that they can't get to.
There was people like right there farming for Luma FOMO. They're just sitting there killing hundreds of FOMOs in a matter of an hour, and I'm sitting here struggling to get 10. But so I was doing that there, and TV training is essential to Nuzlocke runs. You need to try and do your best to plan out what TVs you have. So I think that had a lot to do with my success in the Arisola Dojo. Is I have a lot of HP TVs. I have a lot of special defense TVs. I've not been able to train defense yet because I have to go to Kalamazoo for that. And I did train up a lot of attack because Tateru is an attacker. I mean, I need to do damage in order to succeed. So I'm working right now to try and get as much attack TVs as possible, but I need to get some defense. You need to make sure you get a decent TV spread, but it's also hard because when you go into a battle, you get these excess TVs in areas you don't need. For example, I have special attack, and I don't need that. Tateru has a really good base stamina. I don't need stamina TVs really that much. So I have some TVs that are wasted right now, but I've done a pretty good job, and I think that part is probably most essential. If you're new to the game and you're not sure, there are some great resources out there that tell you what TemTalk give what TVs. Actually, the Tempedia will also tell you, but you have to catch them or encounter them. So you can get details from that as well.
So how much do you micromanage and plan out your TV spreads across your 29, now less than that, Taterus? Are you kind of saying like, okay, these 5 here are going to be special defense and these 5 here are going to be special defense and HP, or are you just kind of training a couple that you need to get through and keeping a bunch on the bench? Or do you have one that's like a trash one that you fight trainers with because it's going to get random SVs and you're not really trying to TV train that one?
No, I have zero planning. I'm just going through, like, I know what TVs I need, and I'm just running through, and so my issue with losing Tater Tot was I had no other Temtem TV trained. I had nothing leveled, nothing TV trained. My entire box of 20, so it was 21 Taterus, just level 5, no TVs, no nothing. So I lost Tater Tot, and that's how we got to our second death in the Nuzlocke, because I had to pull out another one. It's level 5. I'm like, okay, I need to go do some TV training, but I need to go get the Coward's Cloak. I don't know how, but it ended up in the second slot. and I tried running from a battle against a Kawazu and an Umishi, and they just hydro cannoned or water cannoned it.
Oh, no.
You're in the wrong
I'm just-
neighborhood, Tateru.
Basically, yeah, I tried running and they're like, not today, pal. And then
I didn't even think about that fact that if you want to run away, it's high pressure stakes for that RNG to be successful for you.
Oh yeah, because I mean, you have to try and keep a good number of bombs, but you have to also manage ethers and stuff like that because you need stamina as well. Because I'm not TV training stamina, so it's nice to have some ethers and stuff like that. So I try not to blow all my money on bombs, but really, you kind of have to.
Yeah, I guess item management's a huge part of this too, isn't it? On top of the TV training.
Very much. You can kind of just spam bombs, but you've got to also buy some bomb pluses. But you only get so much money in the game, right. And obviously this requires a lot of TV training and time. So I have to run back to all the Temporiums, heal, constantly. Use the Temessence file. I mean, if it wasn't for the Temessence file, this would be a nightmare.
What a great feature over Pokemon, by the way.
Thank you, Dark Souls. Thank you, Dark Souls.
The Temessence file is amazing.
The Estus Flask from Dark Souls is essentially the Temessence file.
Yeah.
If I could comment on something before we get too far from it, though, talking about the encounters and running, something we haven't mentioned on the show that might be worth noting for some of the viewers a little new to the game. There's a item in the game called Ascent, which reduces the amount of encounters you get, and the communities kind of like reverse hack this. So the amount of encounters sent reduces, the percentage chance that it reduces is based on the speed of the Temtem in your first slot.
What?
So if you have a faster Temtem in your first slot, using Ascent nets you ridiculously less encounters than if you have a slow Temtem in your first slot.
That it works that way.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so a lot of people think that your encounters in general are based on how fast the speed of your Tem is in your first slot. Which just in general, if you run around with a faster Tem in your first slot, and this is something that's unsubstantiated by mass amounts of testing. The only testing that's been gone into it is the one for the Scent. But generally, if you run around with a Temtem in your first slot, that's very fast, you get less encounters, and it helps just because your run chance is contested by your Tem speed versus the other Tem speed. So faster Tems helps you get out of battles quicker.
That's really good to know for future Nuzlocks because, when you actually have to go and catch a Temtem per route, obviously planning out which Temtem you're catching is essential. So, you have to use sense to get through certain patches and not encounter Temtem.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
You have to get to the right patch. And if you encounter one on a route and you're in the wrong patch and you encounter the wrong Temtem,
oh no,
it could mean life or death for your whole Nuzlocke challenge.
Because you can't just run away. You got to catch her then, right?
You have to. The first one you encounter on a route is the one you catch.
I love it.
So yeah, it makes it really interesting, and sense that's really cool to know about the Scent because I will eventually do some actual Nuzlocks, not just a Tater lock, and I have some others planned as well, but yeah, so basically just trying to beat the whole game with nothing but Taterus. It's been going really well so far. I'm a little worried about Max. We've got not Zarban yet. It's Ori is level 29, I believe. They've got 27 Barnshi, which is fine because it doesn't actually have any mental type moves besides Bamboozle, I think, right now, or Intimidation. So it can't really do double damage to me yet because I think it gets 31 is where it gets its actual damage dealing mental type move. Thank goodness. But so I'm trying to level up to level 33 so I can get some Taterus with Lullaby so I can actually put Max's Tems to sleep.
That'll be big. Yeah.
I'm real worried about that battle. Max is always a jerk.
What point at the story are you at right now? You beat the first dojo.
Yep, I'm just TV training to get some more stats so I can go and take on Max. Basically, I have to beat Max so that I can get on into the next area.
Okay, so you post right after that first dojo still.
Yeah. So once I do the Max battle, I'm good to go. I think I'll be good for quite a while at level 33. So I'll just basically from that point run through and hope I don't lose anything else. I just need to pay attention. So yeah, it's been going really well. Nuzlocke's been a super, super neat experience. It's actually my first Nuzlocke challenge ever.
Really? You went straight
Yeah.
to the Tateru one too.
Yeah,
Nice.
I mean, and well, on top of a Nuzlocke, I wanted to make it more difficult. So I actually added some channel point rewards on my channel for making it even more difficult. So people can redeem 10,000 channel points so that I don't switch a Temtem out of battle. And they choose which one, top or bottom. So if I have something that was damaged and it's going to die, I can't switch it out. They also have 10,000 points to pick a move for me, and they can choose what move I use that round. Then I have Nuzlocke no bomb, and I can't use any bombs for that entire turn. And for 20,000 channel points, you can tell me to wait a turn. So I wait.
These malicious viewers, I can't believe it. That's so funny.
So yeah, they've actually teamed together to try and use multiple to take out some tater tots, some Taterus.
Are you going to? So obviously you're going to play through the main storyline that's available now. Do you think? Do you have plans to continue as more islands get released on the same playthrough and character, or do you think you'll have restarted and done something else by then with the account?
I'll have restarted and done something else right now. So this is going to be my first Nuzlocke. I'm going to finish this I'm going to go to Tukma and finish, what's currently available, and then do a reset at that point for my next Nuzlocke challenge. I think the next one probably will take me into maybe the next expansion. I don't know. We'll find out. But once the full game's out, I probably will do another Tateru Nuzlocke. Tateru is my channel mascot. It was the first Luma I got. So Tater Tot is my channel mascot. And I just like Taterus a lot. It was the first Temtem I loved. So I'll do another one when the full game's out, because the mental type island is going to be a nightmare.
Oh boy, will it ever! That's the last island, at least, right? So hopefully you can at least get plenty of time to train up before you get to it.
So much special defense and HP.
I'm sorry, maybe you missed it. And if so, I apologize. What did you have an idea for what your very next run might be?
My very next run, actually. So there's a pretty big streamer named Munch and Play, and he is currently breeding, trying to get himself a all 1 SV, every stat 1 SV Luma Pookie.
That's right, you mentioned this.
So he's got buttloads of what he calls magic craps, and he's going to loan me 29 of those 1 SV Pookies.
Oh my.
So I can try and attempt to do a Nuzlocke run with nothing but 1 SV Pookies. It's going to be incredibly difficult. TVs do, they increase your stats and stuff, but SVs have a huge impact on your overall stats. So going from 50 SVs to 1 SV is sometimes a difference between 20 to 40 points in actual viability. So I'm taking a huge hit on overall usability of these, and I cannot evolve them into Piranhans either. So it's going to be just Pookies. Genki's going to murder me. It's going to be horrible.
A lot of Genkis early on.
Oh yeah, it's going to be difficult
too.
Yeah,
I don't think it's possible, but I'm sure as hell gonna try.
It'll be really fun to watch and see the struggle and the challenge. It's
gonna be so rough.
It's so funny because right after I beat Sophia, Nesla with Chain Lightning and Electric Synthesize, it's just oh god, this is so much more pleasant. I can stop dragging my Temtem's corpses through these routes.
That's gonna be my Nuzlocke challenge. I'm gonna beat the game with 29 Neslas. Make it nice and easy.
There you go.
And then after the Pookie lock, I'm going to do nothing but 2 perfect Taterus with egg moves. So I'm going to use 2 perfect Taterus, all 50 SVs. I haven't decided if I'm going to TV train them with fruits yet or not, because it is just 2 Taterus.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say whether training them with fruits would technically be illegal or what. I mean, technically it would really be against the rules, but it is just 2.
If
it's
you're
not
just
29.
Doing 2, yeah, I think it'd be fun to watch, a fun experiment, worthwhile. You're manipulating the rules enough. Why not give yourself that edge? That'd be funny. So man, if you lose one of them, it's all going to be over then. There's no backup or try 2.
I'll keep trying with 1. If at that point, if I lose one, I'll keep trying with 1. But yeah, it's going to be 2. When when they're both dead, they're both dead. Also, one thing I did forget is, I don't remember if I said it earlier, but with my Nuzlocke runs, any Lumas that I encounter, I give away to people in chat. Except 5% and maybe Valash. But I have one more crazy run planned for after all of this. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Luma Dojo Quest.
No, I haven't.
Not.
So HCM Katote is doing one. They have been a Pokemon streamer, and they've done it in Pokemon. And basically, you have to. It's called the Shiny Gym Challenge. There, you have to catch a Luma or Shiny before you can actually challenge the dojo leader. So, in every area,
Sure.
So before you can counter any dojo, you have to catch a Luma. So what I'm planning on doing after all of my other runs is a 5% Luma Dojo Quest. It's probably going to take like 1,200 hours to do.
12 years. Good Lord. Trying to get a Luma Oshira without the Side Park week.
Yeah. So I have to, the first one I'd have to catch would be Barnchi, and then I could go to the first dojo. Then I'd have to catch Oshiara before going to the second dojo, because there's no 5% before the second dojo. Then I'd have to get Kinu before the third. Then I would have to get Crystal or Schween before the next one, and then Tuwai, I believe. I'm trying to remember all the dojos right now. I think there's 5 of them total. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So I'd have to catch a 5% Luma before all of this. So during that one, any 5% I catch will be given away at the end of the run. And any Lumas in between while I'm hunting for 5% would also be given away to chat as well. So
that's awesome. Any general tips for players that you didn't already mention about Nuzlocke, or advice for it, or just high level considerations of things to keep in mind?
Yeah, basically, TV management is pretty important. I mean, depending on what Temtem you end up catching, it's going to vary. And it's not going to be as simple as just, switching out to avoid battles and avoiding bad TVs. You're going to get them. It's going to happen. But, just basically buy a ton of bombs, because they're super cheap. They're super easy to, purchase a bunch of early on, and, they'll save your life. But also, just scents are super important, because you need to try and make sure you get the right one. We covered that a little bit there, but do
you use a lot of smoke bombs?
They're too expensive.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah, I'm like, that would make it easy, but you can't really get very many of them.
So no, because you can't take money from people. You can't take anything from anybody.
Yeah.
The only thing that I took from somebody was some Tem cards, and I obviously I couldn't afford enough Tem cards to buy to catch all 29 right out of the gate in the first area.
Sure.
So I had to go through and do that. But just don't buy smoke bombs. They're super expensive. Just buy a bunch of bombs, run from battles, and do some research on who you will be encountering, what Temtem they're going to have, because there are some great guides out there. Because not knowing Saku gets narcoleptic hit took me by surprise, and it cost me dearly.
Kennedy,
Tater tot.
Kenny, what about you? Have any questions or things that you want to ask or discuss about all this?
I don't. Not about Nuzlocke. I am just so thankful for Gaijin coming on and just doing an awesome stream every day or every other day. I've tuned in about every other day, but
yeah, most days. The only day I take off is Wednesdays, I think, at this point.
Okay, that was the day I missed.
It's a perfect transition. Why don't go ahead right now? Just let people. How can they find you on Twitch? When do you stream? How do people get in on this excitement and can enjoy some of this? And me included. Okay. I'm gonna have to come. I got to come watch some of this now first. And I hadn't seen any yet. I have to admit now, but I'm totally hooked now and want to watch.
Yeah. So on Twitch and Twitter, my handle is it's Gaijin Buu, which would be it's GAIJINBUU. So there was somebody already named Gaijin Buu on both, so I just put it's in front of it, and it's Gaijin Buu. I'm Gaijin Buu on TemTem and in Discord. So I talk sometimes in the TemTem Discord as well. But so you can find me on Twitter or on Twitch with It's Gaijin Buu, and I stream Monday from 9:30 until 1:30 a.m. 9:30 p.m. until 1:30 a.m. Tuesday from 4 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. Wednesday I take off. Thursday I stream from 4 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. Friday I stream from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern. So these are all in Eastern time, by the way.
Sure. Well, that's great. I definitely hope people come check you out if they haven't already. I'm excited to watch some myself. What was that, Kenny? I'm sorry. It looks like
I was going to say I have to head out, so I just wanted to thank Gaijin for coming on. I'm going to let you guys close out the show. Like
Happy
always,
to be here.
Yes, and we'll have to have him back on when more content comes out too.
Definitely. We'll yeah, we'd love to have you back to let us know how it's all gone and give us the latest update. Maybe
yeah, be happy to.
Once you've completed this run or nearing to it, we'll check in with you again. So yeah, Ken, I know you got to run, go to some Temporium. Everyone, don't forget to check out Kennedy's casting on Temporium or his YouTube channel as well.
The last thing I want to say is viewer questions. I love the viewer questions. Please send us more. They're so much fun to discuss and talk about, and everybody has like really good opinions that differ from ours. So
yeah, so temtalkshow@gmail.com, everyone. Otherwise, leave us a 5-star iTunes review. You can find the show on YouTube or anywhere you get your podcasts. Until next time, thank you, everyone.